Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Shauna and this is Shauna Writes Books. As 2025 comes to a close, I've been thinking a lot about what this year actually looked like on the page and off of it. It wasn't a year of clean wins or dramatic breakthroughs. It was a year of staying or returning, of sitting with drafts that didn't behave, and ideas that took longer than I wanted them to. There were moments I questioned the pace, moments I wondered if I was moving forward at all, and moments where the work felt so quiet it almost felt invisible. But when I look back now, I can see that 2025 was less about outcomes and more about endurance, less about arrival and more about attention. And when I think about what writing gave me this year, it isn't a single lesson or a polished conclusion. It's a series of small lived understandings, things I didn't realize I was learning until I was already standing on the other side of them. Yeah. This past year of writing didn't come with a clear arc or a big reveal at the end. And I think that's actually the most honest thing I can say about it. There wasn't a moment where I suddenly felt like a real writer or where the work got easier in a permanent way, but there were a lot of small moments where I noticed myself responding differently to frustration, to doubt, to the silence that sometimes sits in a document before the words even arrive. And somewhere in all of that, writing started teaching me things quietly without announcement, without neat summaries, just through repetition. So I want to talk about 5 things writing taught me this past year, and the way you tell a friend about something you only fully understood after living it. Writing taught me that patience is something you practice, not something you have. And I used to think patience was a personality trait, like you either had it or you didn't. And I was pretty sure I didn't. But writing doesn't really care what kind of person you think you are. This year, patience looked like staying with a chapter that felt wrong for weeks, like sitting down even when I already knew I wasn't going to love what I wrote that day, like letting sentences be awkward and unfinished without immediately trying to rescue them. And what surprised me was that patience didn't feel calm or noble, it felt uncomfortable. It felt like resisting the urge to quit too early. It felt like trusting time, even when I couldn't see what time was doing yet. Writing taught me that impatience usually means I want reassurance faster than the work can give it. Number 2, writing taught me that revision isn't an admission of failure. For a long time, I treated revision like evidence that I wasn't very good at, and this felt like if I were better, the first version would come out closer to finished. But this year, revision started to feel less like fixing and more like listening. And I'd come back to something I wrote weeks earlier and realized I could finally hear what it was trying to say underneath the noise of my expectations. Revision became the place where I slowed down enough to ask better questions, where I stopped forcing meaning and started noticing it. And I realized that writing doesn't really happen all at once. It happens in layers over time through return. Number 3, writing taught me that belief follows action, not the other way around. I spent a lot of time waiting to feel confident before committing fully to the work. I I told myself I'd take it seriously once I believed in it more, once I felt more sure it was worth the effort. But writing taught me something slightly uncomfortable. Belief didn't show up first. Belief showed up after I kept going without guarantees, after I showed up on days when I felt unsure, bored, unconvinced, after I chose the work even when it didn't choose me back right away. And slowly, almost without noticing, belief followed, not as excitement, but as steadiness. Number 4, writing taught me to pay attention to what I repeat. This year, I started noticing how often I circle the same ideas, the same questions, the same emotional ground. And at first, that felt discouraging, like I was moving forward. But then I realized repetition isn't always stagnation, it's sometimes depth. Writing became a way of watching myself think, of noticing what I return to when I'm not trying to be impressive or productive. And instead of trying to escape those patterns, I started letting them guide me, trusting that the things I keep writing about might actually be the point. Number 5, writing taught me that finishing is an act of trust. There's a very specific kind of weight that unfinished work carries. This year, writing taught me that perfectionism often disguises itself as care, when really it's just fear of letting something be seen, even by yourself. Finishing didn't mean the work was exactly right. It meant I trusted myself enough to stop revising and let the piece end. And every time I finished something, I felt a little more space open up, not because the work was perfect, but because it was complete. This past year, writing didn't give me clarity in the way I expected, but it gave me something steadier than that. And if you're writing right now and it feels slow, uncertain, or quieter than you hoped, it doesn't mean nothing is happening. It might mean the work is teaching you something you won't recognize until later. And that, I'm learning, is still progress. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next chapter.